Hey everybody, MyLoveless here, and we're back with another wallpaper for this month. And I guess today I will be chatting with you about some unfortunate events that happened with us, Silver and I, as of recently, like last month. We had really struck with some bad luck, and we're just gonna chat about that for a little bit this time around. So I'm hoping that you are okay, and we're probably in a way better place than we were last month. So here we go. last month and partially this one, Silver is saying in the background over here. But so we had some car issues, and we personally mentioned it a little inside our Patreon Discord. But here's the full gist of all the crap that happened. It all started when our tire started going flat. And eventually it did. Completely flat.
Not exactly. See, what had happened was...
Oh, here's Silver.
Everything with the tire was fine. It was completely normal. And then we walked out on one of the days to let the dog out or take the trash out, and the tire was completely flat.
Yeah, all the way down.
Yeah, it had not been going flat. But suddenly we walked out the next day and it was flat.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean, it was flat down to the rim.
To the rim. So we were like, all right, well, we don't have another car. This is the only vehicle we have, and any place that we can do anything about it is a walk, because we live in an area that everything is really, really far. So we were like, okay, well, we'll just, I guess, buy an air compressor and wait till it gets here and fix this problem and hope that it's just, the weather change. Because at the time, we were getting this stupid hot-cold thing going on where it would be really hot during the day and really cold at night until it started just becoming cold all day and all night.
And I mean, I sort of know that, that big of a fluctuation is not a good thing because, it doesn't usually just go, oh, it's hot, and now it's cold, and your tire is completely flat. That's not usually how it works. But, we were hoping. Me being me, I was hopeful because I didn't want to have to call somebody to tow my car.
Yeah, because that's an expensive thing.
I mean, he says it's a walk. It's not a walk. There is no way we could walk to any of the places that would fix our vehicle.
No, it'd be like hours away on a walk.
Hours away.
So after that, we were just like, okay. So we buy the air compressor. We wait. It gets delayed a day. Shipping always says, oh, it'll be here, blah, blah, blah. But for some reason, when it comes to here, it's either square on time or at least a day late. So it was a day late. But we get it. We're like, okay, cool. So we get it. Everything's awesome. It works because it's one of those, you plug it into your car.
It blew the fuse in my, the dash.
Yeah, it blew the fuse in the dash. What is that called? The charger?
Yeah.
Bit for where the...
cigarette lighter charger.
The cigarette lighter charger is. Yeah. So it busted after that. But when we were doing it first, everything was fine. Yeah. So, but it did bring the tire back up. So we're like, okay, well, I don't see anything. I don't hear anything because sometimes, you can hear the air pussing out, if it's really bad. But we're like, okay, well, maybe it was just the weather. Cool. All right. So we unplug everything, we put it away. Everything is great. Next thing you know, what was it? The same night?
Next morning, we went out again to check, and it was completely flat.
Completely flat. We're like, oh no. That's all we needed to know was the fact that something is wrong with the tire. Okay. So
I had to make an appointment at the tire shop to see if they had time to either get me in to patch it or replace it. And so they were like, yeah, you can come today at 2 o'clock. I'm like, crap. All right, I can come today at 2 o'clock. So we went. We didn't know if it was busted, and we were going to need to replace it.
The whole thing.
I mean, we obviously refilled the tire again just enough to get us there because it seemed like it was a slow leak. Yeah. Since it took a full 15 hours to get completely flat again.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. So we did refill it. We went to the place after that. We waited, and they were like, oh yeah, it'll take us a hot second. So we went and walked off into Big Lots, bought a couple things because we knew we were going to be there for a while, because even though it wasn't super busy, that place is usually busy either way, because it's one of the most popular places in that area because they do good work. And so we walk back. We don't wait too long after our walk back and forth. And then they were like, oh yeah, there was a giant nail in your tire.
So it was only like a $15, $20 patch.
Which you got lucky.
I got really lucky because to replace one of the tires on my vehicle, because it's technically a truck, it's expensive. They charge you for tires like you were actually riding around in a truck.
Yeah, it's a lot. So then we go home with this new tire and we think that all our troubles are done. We're fine. Everything's excellent. Little did we know that we were completely wrong with that assumption.
So my brakes had started grinding. And I was like, okay, well, it's the beginning of the month, because I'm pretty sure this happened like the beginning of the month before we send all our, funds and have like quote unquote a paycheck. So I'm like, all right, well, Monday is coming, it's Friday. Monday is coming. I will go to the place to get my brakes replaced on Monday when my paycheck clears. And as I'm leaving Refuge Ridge, which is the dog sanctuary that I volunteer at periodically. No, all the time.
Every Friday.
That's periodic, right?
Yeah.
But as I'm leaving there, my brakes suddenly, I have to push all the way down to the floor. And I'm like, oh, snap. And I am riding along and I call, Zero, and I'm like, oh my God, my brakes have gone out and I don't know what to do because it's getting dark. And
with
it's a long way to get home.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes. She's out 40 minutes away from home.
40 minutes away from home. So I'm like, I have to get home, but I can't afford to have it towed because that's expensive and I don't get paid until quote unquote Monday.
Yeah, and not only that, but because of the whole COVID thing that's happening right now, everything around the area is closing. Because it's about 5, almost 6 o'clock over there by the time this happens to her, and she's calls me and what should I do, and I'm just like, I'm Googling frantically of all the areas and all the places that could be potentially open. I'm like, everything is closing in 20 minutes. Everything is closing that could help you in 20 minutes. The only thing that is open is Walmart. They have an auto service place, but it doesn't say anything about brakes on their website, but you might as well just go over there just in case.
So as I'm trying to go and do this, I'm being really careful because I have to press the brake pedal all the way to the floor to get my vehicle to stop. As I'm, on the phone with him, and I have it so that it's, I'm holding it with my shoulder and I have both my hands on the wheel and I'm coming up to this big intersection, which is a 2-lane highway. So I'm coming off this little side road into a 2-lane highway. And as I go to brake, the car refuses to stop.
Yes.
I almost skid into this 2-lane highway, even though I had started braking early and everything. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I was so scared. I was literally shaking because I'm like, I'm going to die.
And I could literally on the phone hear the car screeching or trying to stop because the rubber is just skidding on the pavement. And I was like, oh my God. Right. I hope she does not get into an accident because 40 minutes away, cannot do anything about it.
Not only that, but you don't drive.
Yeah, I can't drive.
I'm the only one that drives.
So it was a hot mess, and she was a hot mess, and so she does eventually get to Walmart though.
Being extra careful.
Being extremely careful because she had no other choice. And when she gets there, she finds out that they don't do brakes. No. But there was a really nice gentleman there.
His name was Leo. Thank you, Leo, if you ever stumble across us somehow. Backwoods, middle of nowhere Walmart.
Yep, and he checks to see, and she's actually out of brake fluid.
Completely.
So it turns out that she has a brake fluid leak, and it's bad. To the point where...
After we had filled it,
it
was on the ground again.
It literally just spilled right out of the vehicle. And
when I pressed the brakes, yeah.
And I guess he tells her, whatever's left in there should be enough to at least get you home, but you need to get it checked out. And don't stop unless you really have to stop. And she was like, okay.
He's you got enough brakes to get you home? Don't hit them until you really need them. So, I'm like, God, you don't have to tell me twice.
Yep. So she actually makes it back home safely, shaken up and, upset because, that was not a good day for her. But this was a back-to-back car problem for us. It was the
same
wheels.
side, too. It was
the same exact side, the same exact wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I
we
was wondering
thought...
if the nail that had gone through it somehow punctured the brake line, too.
Yeah, so we thought it was like a terrible, like something was coordinating that whole section. Something there by that tire had just gone horribly wrong. So we ended up getting an appointment to an auto repair shop place.
Didn't need an appointment. It was
no, it was walking. Yeah, that's right.
I called them
this
to
place
ask
was.
about appointments.
They said no
They
appointment.
said they don't do appointments.
Just get there early.
Yeah, they recommended that because the lobby opens at 7 and their garage opens at 8, and that's when everybody starts working, that I get there and get checked in at 7 so that I can be the first one in. Yeah. Because I told them about my problem, and they're like, wait, are you driving like that? Well, no, they asked us when we got there.
Did you drive like that?
They're like, does the brakes hit all the way to the floor? I'm like, yeah. So I'm assuming they thought that I was going to tow it, but I can't afford to tow it at this point.
So we get there early because we pretty much, like, the moment they opened, we ran over there. And they got us in pretty quick. We hung around the area for like 5 hours, I believe it was that day.
I don't know, because like we were done at like 1 or so.
Yeah, but we were up at like 7 or 8, right?
They got us out pretty early. I'd have to check, but yeah, they did.
It was about 5-ish hours. So it turned out, that there was a problem with the... I believe it was like...
It wasn't a brake line problem. No. It was that my brakes had worn a hole into something.
Yeah.
So they had to replace the caliper and something else. I can't remember what else it was, because like my grandpa's a mechanic, my uncle's a mechanic, and my dad knows a little bit, but like none of that stuff really sticks fully. It's just like, oh, okay, I understand the basic principle of that, but I don't remember any of this crap. But
it was just her rubbing the metal too much.
Yeah, it was rubbing the metal too much, essentially. And what I'm thinking happened is that I must have hit the ditch coming out of, RR, because there's a small little ditch on the side. It's not like a deep ditch. It's just a small ditch from where, like, the water runs off when it rains. And it's pretty shallow. I mean, if I were to put my hand in it, it would come up to my wrist, so it would swallow my hand. But I might have hit that, funny, and I think that's what done it, because after that, my brakes went out. And that's when it happened.
Yep.
I think if I hadn't hit that and,
it might have
been okay for me to get there on Monday, but...
Yeah.
That happened. So that's what they had to do. They had to replace that and all the brake fluid, and they did a really good job.
And they gave us brakes, and everything was good after that. They fixed one of the side sway bars.
Yeah, they did. They had to fix one of the side sway bars.
But overall, after that, everything was a lot better. It just turned out that it was just one unfortunate car event after another. And I guess it worked out that everything happened at the same time, so it wasn't spanned out. But it sucked because it happened at the same time, and it wasn't spanned out.
It had me so messed up that I was calling my dad to ask about auto loans, because we're already saving for a new vehicle. Our vehicle was a beater to get us, to and from and out of the situations that we were in, before we got the car. And so I was like, Dad, how do I get an auto loan? Because I don't know if this car is gonna make it until I can save up for a new used car that has the credentials that I want. Because I'm saving up for, a better new used car, because the one I got only cost me about $950, and I've been rocking it for about 2 years.
Yeah, and she's slowly...
And she's slowly breaking down, and it's costing me more money to fix her than it would to just save up and buy a newer car.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That was our bad luck for, like, the end of last month and the beginning of this month. But here is to knocking on wood, everybody give us some send us some good vibes, that we don't have any more crazy surprises, until much, much later, preferably. I would like a break.
How about no crazy surprises?
At all.
Thank you.
That would be nice, too. If everyone can wish that for us, that'd be awesome. But yeah, that was our unfortunate events, our bad luck for this year. I feel like that was like the worst ones for sure, because they were kind of life-threatening at the time. So, yeah. So that's our story, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
and may you not experience it's like to have your brakes go out on a intersection between a rural road and a country highway. May you never know what that feels like, because it is scary, and I don't want that for any of you.
Yes. I agree. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. I'd like to give a shout out to Alxie, Blazy, Blizzkit, Cinewolf, CryptoZoo, Erie, Exora, Jesse, Comijo Brat, Lucif, Marsha, Nat, Nirvana Draven, Robert, C-Said, Tenerbis, Vesper Kai, Vi, and a big thank you to my Cat Fiend Junkie patrons, Candle Kisses, Dakota, and Tekorb. Also, happy birthday to Tony and Cinewolf.